Today, I just wanted to discuss something that for the longest time I have been observing, but now it's like I have a better understanding and can explain, possibly, because I'm not claiming to have all the answers. And I really haven't researched this to really know, but drawing my own conclusions, this is what I've come up with. And it's, you guys ever notice how there is always like a period of posterity in, let's say, a country? The economy is good, everything is good, everything seems to be fine. Then there comes the decline. Everybody gets desperate, people are losing their stuff. And then, of course, you go to the very bottom. I think it's called like the business cycle, the economy cycle, where you have posterity and then depression is the lowest that you can go. And then you're like regaining your stuff. And then what I want to get to is how cheap doesn't always mean good. It doesn't mean that stuff is fine or stuff is getting back to the way it used to be, which is everybody's happy, prosperous, or at least living decently. Or mostly everybody, because I know that there's no such thing as perfect world. But right now, I'm noticing that some retailers are dropping their prices on some specific items. Let's say the majority is, of course, their best sellers. But then I'm telling myself, there are people still who are losing their jobs, struggling to find one. And if they do find one, they cannot make ends meet, especially if you have a family. And in my case, it's like I have a job, but I still cannot make ends meet because, or, well, I can make ends meet, but I'm what you call just getting by, having like a paycheck to paycheck cycle. I could be working two jobs, but at the same time, that would affect me so much mentally because with the job that I have, I'm already tired as it is. I come home, immediately I take a nap, and when I wake up from the nap, I feel worse than before. I feel even more drained. And then for my disgrace, since I'm only a part-time worker, fewer than 30 hours a week, but usually I'm up there in the 20s at least. You know, I work hard and I spend considerable amounts of hours there, you know, not quite like a full-timer. All that a full-timer is they have another extra day working, an additional 8 hours or so, whereas I'm not full-time material only because of between 5 hours or 1 hour. Because if I had 30 hours or 31 hours or say 30.99 hours, I would be considered full-time material. But of course, I have to suffer because I don't get to have any kind of benefits. Yes, they do offer me benefits, but it's so costly. It's so expensive. I just cannot wrap my head around the idea of having to just work two jobs just so that I can start to begin to live financially comfortably or a little more comfortably. I would gain in the financial sector, but I would lose in the physical and mental sector because let me tell you, I struggle to get rest as it is. Imagine having two jobs. I struggle being mentally healthy and happy as it is. Imagine not getting a break. And people tell me that a good rule is to have one day out of the week from both jobs if I were to do this. And I'm like, yeah, I planned on doing that anyway. But that's the thing. I have to be available for business needs. Like my schedule is based on business needs. So it can go up and down. If only I were a salary part-time person, if such thing exists, then I could make better decisions. I could accommodate myself better. I would actually be living a fuller life because I know exactly what I have to count on and I don't have to live in the stress of, oh, this week I'll probably make an extra $50 compared to my last paycheck. Or I might make another extra $100 because business picked up. And I just think it's crazy that, unfortunately, since I work for someone, they have that power over me. They have that power over you, unless you happen to be a business owner. I have to give up something. Everybody has to give up something. There's always a victim. There's always someone suffering. So in this case, anytime you see something that's cheap or lowered in price, someone had to suffer for that to be the case. Someone had to lose their jobs for being replaced by a machine. These automated jobs that are, taken over. And many companies tell you that, oh, this is not meant for people to lose their jobs. They're trying to do that because when you cut labor, you're saving money. I think the company's biggest expense is the labor because it's a bill that doesn't go away. When you build your store, I guess unless you rent a space, if you build a space, all you gotta do is pay taxes on it. And we all know that big things dodge taxes in the corrupt system. So what happens to the money that is not spent in those things? It's like a one-time fee type of thing. It's like you set up your building, you pay for it, it's done. The same thing with the products that we like. Those things have to be sourced. They have to be grown, like your produce. Someone has to go out into the field, pick it up, go through it. Then the person who is at the grocery store has to go through the product and prepare it for it to be displayed on the floor. You wouldn't want bugs all over your produce, your fresh produce. Sometimes a few escape here and there, but someone has to go through the trouble of digging through that to make it appealing and for you to buy it. Because if you find a bug in your food, even though you should understand that it's natural for there to be bugs in your produce, you're still going to be grossed out because you've been spoiled all this time getting it clean, and you think that if it has bugs in it, then it's probably not good. On the contrary, bugs are attracted to that because they must be the best quality and they're getting fat from it. But yeah, it's like sometimes I'm out shopping for the stuff I need. I'm like, oh wow, this went up in price. And sometimes I don't mind paying that extra buck if it's a place that I can say, wow, these people at least treat their workers well. Everybody seems happy. And this is a product that I'm just passionate about, It's a weird thought that I had. I'm like, so many things that we just take for granted, that we just comfortably have access to. It's at the expense of someone's comfort, I don't know. I know this is not being a very fun and engaging video, but it's just a thought of mine and I just wanted to put it out there and hear what you guys have to say. Have you guys seen this? Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you think that I'm missing the mark? Do you think I'm exaggerating the situation? Can you see why I'm saying it, but you still think that that's not quite the way it is? Let me know. This is one of those topics that I'm not as savvy as I wish I could be. Because, like I said, I don't research it. If I come across a topic that's possible video material, I like to say my first initial impressions and then start studying on it. So maybe in the future, I can compile what I learned and present it. Like my Serena video. As soon as I uploaded that, I was learning a lot of things. And I meant to do like an updated version of it within 2 weeks or within the month. I remember that much. But I said, you know what? Until I get all of my answers to some questions that a comments thread in that video generated, I'm not going to film that video. So I'm still working on it. On a daily basis, I revisit something that I'm like, oh yeah, I have a question about that. So until I'm totally prepared, I won't go for it. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to say about this. Let me know if you agree or disagree. What are your observations, explanations? That is just an observation I've made. And I know it's pretty common sense for everybody, but I hope that you see what I'm saying from the perspective that I'm saying. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you soon.